Hello, you're listening to the IoT Weekly Podcast. Hello and welcome to episode number 36 of the IoT Weekly Podcast, brought to you by GearForge Software. My name is Matthew and I'm joined by my co-host and good friend Cliff. Cliff, how you doing?
Hey Matthew, doing really well. How about you?
I am great. I'm happy to be back for yet another episode of the IoT Weekly Podcast. Very exciting. Yeah. Episode
Very
number
exciting.
36.
And we got some fun stuff coming up here today, so I'm looking forward to going through some of these.
Yeah, we do. We decided this would be a good week to do weird and wacky connected devices. So we've got a list of interesting stuff that these are real products that people have are testing the market with. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, in many cases, you can either buy these on Amazon or there's an Indiegogo or a Kickstarter campaign. We have the links here in the show notes if you want to jump in on the product.
Yeah, and it's kind of it's kind of a neat mix. We've got some that I think we're sort of making fun of a little bit, and many of them actually I think are kind of useful, just more maybe interesting or something I wouldn't have thought of. So,
yep, I would totally agree with that, Matthew.
So, Cliff, have you been doing anything fun lately?
It's the summer is always just fleeting. It goes by so quickly. So we're trying to get out as much as I know.
What happened?
It's just flying by, just ridiculous. I am going on vacation next week, heading up to Maine and getting some lobsters, so that'll be fun. But this week was not lobster. This week was a couple things. So for some of you know that I live on a river, and I ended up buying this week like this huge. It's like a bushwhacker type deal where it's like it's like a weed whacker, except it's a mower with a big cord in the front of it. Mm-hmm. Because we just have just the amount of stuff that a mower won't even cut it anymore. So that was a pretty cool purchase, tearing through all types of things in the yard. It's a little scary as you run through it because it'll kick it out almost 50 feet. So you got to watch out as far as if you're standing by there, but pretty wicked device. It'll even mow your lawn if you really wanted to try it that far.
It sounds like maybe overkill for my lawn, but
100%. And most of the time, mine, like when I'm going through it just ends up making a dirt patch. So
that's one way to mow it.
Yeah. Besides that, though, for some fun stuff here, I've been testing out a variety of different proximity switches. We've got a kind of an odd scenario of something that we have to detect. So at a very close range, so it's not like we're doing meters, we're doing millimeters here, like 3 to 4 millimeters at most. So it's been kind of fun working on that, trying to figure out what is the best scenario for detecting an object.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, super cool. How about you, Matthew?
I have been, for weeks and weeks now, I have been nose deep in .NET Core and Vue.js stuff. .NET Core API with a Vue.js front end, which has actually been a pretty good combination, to be honest with you. Works out pretty well. Yeah, but I'm at the point where I see curly brackets when I close my eyes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a bit much.
Yeah, well, sometimes that's how it goes.
Yeah. It's totally agree.
So who do we have for a show sponsor this week?
Well, Matthew, the show sponsor is GearForge Software.
What?
Yeah, I know. It's shocking, isn't it? But yes, we've got GearForge sponsors as our show sponsors. So GearForge Software is an IoT consultant that works with companies that are ready to make their companies smart. If you're looking for a partner that'll live, eat, and breathe your project, then look no further than GearForge Software. You can learn more at GearForgeSoftware.com.
All right, excellent. And now we are on to our main segment, Weird and Wacky Connected Devices. So let's just jump in here. I think up first we have Brita filter, Cliff.
A Brita filter? Is it Wi-Fi connected, of course, I'm betting?
It is. Everything on the list, I think, is connected to something. So this, I found this in, well, I guess it's payments.com. I don't know what that stands for. PYMNTS.com. And this is a little older. This is from 2017, but I still thought it was interesting. Basically, this was pairing a Brita filter with Amazon Dash. It's called Brita Infinity.
Hmm.
And it basically automatically orders a new $6 filter when it detects that your old filter is like past its
Really?
yeah, its lifespan. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I
I
see
actually
it
think
right
that's
here
kind of
on
a great
Amazon.
idea. Yeah.
You can pick this guy up for 75 bucks. Yeah, because we've got a Brita
Mhm.
filter, and I think I actually just pulled the daggone thing right out of it now. We also have like a huge water filtration system now under the sink that we use,
Mhm.
so we were told just to pull that thing out. But when I was using this, actually, we would end up ordering these filters all the time from Amazon. So this is actually super slick.
Well, that's what we did too. When we were using Britas, it's like Amanda would just order a new filter from Amazon when it was time, and when it showed up, we'd plug it in. But there's that step. It's like, oh, we're past the date. Oh yeah, I'll go order one next time. Then it shows up. So this kind of takes away all the hassle.
Well, and I've had a scenario where I ended up going to kind of a box store to pick some up, Matthew,
Mhm.
and of course, I buy the wrong one.
It's
So
the wrong
now
one.
on top of
Yeah,
that, I've got to take it back to that box store, which I'm probably not going to do. I'm going to throw it away because I don't want to take things back. It's really awful trying to go back to some of those stores.
totally. Yeah, I thought that
Huh.
was kind of an interesting one, and really, this is one
I
that
need this for my Keurig to auto order after I went through like my 5 boxes of coffee.
yeah, that's great. I mean, it could keep count, right? It could keep track of like, well, we knew you ordered this many last time, and so now you've used this much. It just keeps it in little
I may have
inventory.
to actually do this. I might dig up my button and just wire it up for my home coffee maker.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, create your own dash with one of Amazon's
We have all these generic
IoT
buttons.
buttons. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
so maybe I'll do that with the darn thing.
You should send me one of those.
Did I not send you
I
one?
don't. I don't have one. No.
Oh, I'll send you. Maybe I'll send you that. I've got the AT&T one. I'll send you that
Oh,
one,
there you go.
Matthew.
Awesome.
It's still in the box. All right. Let's.
Fantastic.
So I'm gonna have to add this to my list. This sounds like something I could actually buy. So what else do we have?
Yeah. Well, Cliff, how do you feel about whiskey?
I'm not a huge whiskey drinker. I'm a little more wine. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy a little bit of whiskey in moderation.
Sure.
So this is a Jim Beam. I think it's actually branded Jim Beam um, whiskey decanter. And basically, the idea here is it's a smart decanter. It measures the shot for you, but it's also voice enabled. So it's got, I don't know, like Alexa integrated or some technology like that. And so you can ask it questions and it will respond with sassy responses.
Hmm.
Do you think this is
Yeah.
something you need in your life, Cliff?
Maybe. Apparently, they've got their own Jim Beam Apple Watch too. So,
Well, there you go.
like,
But
why would you not want to have this?
I think maybe other than conversation piece, this is pretty silly stuff. But if you think about, like you're running a bar or something and you want something
Mhm.
unique, something like this might be kind of fun, right? Just a conversation piece.
I think so. I've bought worse stuff, or if it wasn't overly expensive, I can't find a spot to actually buy it. That's what I was looking for. Um, just so that way, if you actually wanted to buy it. But I mean, think about if you got, all right, I've got a whiskey drinker. Um, it's priced 34 bucks.
Yeah, like as a gift. Yeah,
That's
that
what
would
I'm
be a
thinking.
great
Like as
gift.
a gift, if it's a
Yeah,
$34, why not? You're like,
I
yeah, I'm gonna
like
get with
that.
this for Grandpa. He may not ever like wire this thing up, but I would help him with it, and like, here you go.
I bet he pulls it out when people are visiting.
Oh yeah, he would be like, see this thing? I got a smart whiskey, blah blah blah, and he would
Yeah,
absolutely love that.
it'll tell you a dirty joke.
Yeah.
I don't know if it does that, but
I don't know, but he would like that even more if it told dirty jokes. Oh God.
so our
Yeah.
next item on the list is also kind of a fun one. So this is called the Furbo, and basically take a Nest Cam and sort of make it specifically tailored for dogs,
Hmm.
and then add to that a an app so that you can tell it, basically remote control it to tell it to shoot a treat out for your pet.
What?
Yeah, so basically you could monitor your pets during the day and, all of that stuff, and then give them treats remotely.
Huh. That's slick. Here's the Indiegogo campaign.
Yeah,
It's closed.
so
They've
many
raised
crowd.
$511,000.
I know, right?
Yeah,
Not kidding around.
that is awesome. I'm gonna have to buy this one.
Perfect.
It's like we are pulling together this year's Christmas list shopping. I mean, that's what I'm thinking here, Matthew.
Exactly.
I mean, these are
So,
actually things we could buy.
yeah, some of them are pretty good, I think. So this next item is less of an item and more of a comment, I think. So this is from Morten Nielsen on Twitter, and basically it is showing his new smart oven and the fact that on the touch screen, before he can use it, he has to accept the terms and conditions.
I
So
wonder
it's
if they could email that to you or print it out.
yeah, exactly. I want to read them.
Yes. Can you actually just burn this into a large dough for me so I can read these?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Or
So what
on a
happens if you
set of
say
cookies.
no? You got like $1,000 oven that's now worth nothing?
I guess so. I mean, I don't get it. But it's interesting, Cliff, because you and I were talking about this actually.
We were.
What are the cases in life where you don't have to accept the terms and conditions, but probably you should now, right?
I think
Uh,
so.
and or the weird cases where you do have to accept them and it seems strange that you do. But for example, I go and use the little credit card swiper on the gas thing, and I've never been asked any terms and conditions for that. It's like somehow
Never.
it's just implied, I guess. I'm using the pump, and so I don't know, like, but I go, you go use the simplest app and you've got like 20 pages of fine print that you've got to accept.
Yeah, I can't even, like, this thing just has to be brutal. I can't imagine. Oh yeah, hold on, let me fire this bad boy up.
Exactly.
That's just crazy.
Totally. All right. And next, we've got a couple actually bicycling items.
What?
So the next one is the Velco Wink Bar.
A wink
Basically,
bar?
yeah, it's the weirdest name. I don't know that I like the name because I would never associate it with what it is. But it's basically a handlebar for a bike, like a regular pedal bike, right?
Okay.
It's GPS assisted, so you can use it for navigation. It has geolocation included, so that if your bike's stolen, you can figure out where it is.
Wow.
The headlights turn on automatically at night or in
Oh my
darkness.
gosh.
Comes with a complimentary app, and it only will run you $337, which is like,
Costs more than my bicycle.
but it costs like 3 times more than my bike.
I don't have that awesome of a bicycle. That would be more, yeah, much, much more than my bicycle.
I know, isn't that funny? But I
Wow.
mean, if you're a very serious biker, like some people, they live and breathe bicycling. I mean, I could
But
see
I'm
that
looking at
being
the bar, and this bar is not anything like the very competitive bicyclers. This is the wrong kind of bar.
yeah, exactly. Yep, totally.
So just to let everybody know, the bicycle, like, it's the old school kind of touring the beach bicycle type
Mhm.
handlebars is what it looks like, instead of your super fancy like swirly type bars that you'd use for a much more competitive cycling race.
Yeah, it's not for like a road bike. It's like a mountain bike handle or something in between that and just a casual bike handle. So yeah, yeah. Um,
I'm
so
sure
that
these things are flying off like hotcakes.
you got to be pretty serious about your bike.
That's
This next
super
one, though,
serious.
I think is maybe a little more practical. It is called the Omni Smart Cycling Helmet, and
Oh,
basically, here's the idea. So it's about $200. It has collision detection. So if it detects that you've gotten into some kind of a tumble, it will automatically alert your emergency contacts, which I assume you set up somewhere ahead of time, right?
I'm sure there's an app for this.
Yeah, totally. And the crazy thing though is this. So I've never heard of this before, but I think it's kind of weird and cool. Is it has bone conducting audio points that allow bikers to listen to audio, but leaves their ears free. So
That's
basically,
brilliant, actually,
yeah,
Matthew. I've
yeah, I
I've
know.
seen a lot of the bone conducting audio technology. There's been quite a few articles from across the web on this stuff, but I've really struggled to actually find a use case. This actually makes total sense from a use case standpoint.
Yeah, I thought it was
I could definitely see this.
kind of a clever use of these technologies. And again, if you're biking all the time, I remember one of my former colleagues got in a bad bike accident. It's been a long time now, 6, 7 years ago. But it's something like that. It's like if you're biking all the time, I mean, those things do happen,
Yeah.
and it'd be nice, if you're unconscious somewhere, it just contacts your emergency contacts, and then the audio thing to me. So that alone might not be enough. Like it's great, it's a great safety feature if you get into that, but it's sort of like, well, great, it's a safe helmet with that, but the fact that it's got that audio
Well, and
is
I can
something
tell
I
you,
could just
Matthew,
appreciate. You know.
I've done I'm a runner, and one of the hardest parts with running is the daggone like headphones. Like they
Mhm.
just are just awful. They're like flopping all over the place. And again, just like you said, you can't hear if you got bikers coming up from behind you or cars. And of course you've got it if you're sweating too, right? So you
Mhm.
struggle keeping those in your ears. So like this is great actually. This actually makes total sense to me.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I would buy it just for the audio. And at
Well,
200 bucks, that doesn't sound too bad actually.
that's what I was thinking is, it's like it's got the safety feature, which is nice, but then with the audio, it makes you feel like you're really getting something that
Oh
you use
yeah.
every day, you know what I mean? Not just a
Yeah.
safety product. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
really
created by
love it.
company Koros, and it's the Omni Smart Cycling Helmet.
You can get this on Amazon, it looks like.
Yeah, it's interesting how many of them are just showing up on Amazon now.
Yeah, 199 bucks. It's got 29 reviews, 4 stars. Get it in multiple colors. This is pretty slick, Matthew.
So this next one is a device that I think it's kind of hilarious, but I totally want one. This is
Oh, what's that?
it is the iDevices Smart Ceiling Fan Switch.
What? That's a
And
mouthful.
I know, isn't it? So basically, it is Wi-Fi enabled fan controller. So think of your ceiling fan and how they've got
Sure.
those little remote controls, right?
Yep.
This one is a Wi-Fi enabled fan controller, and it allows the users to adjust their fan speed and light with voice commands on Amazon Alexa, Google Assistant, and Siri.
Hmm.
And it works with most fans apparently.
That makes actually a lot of sense to me.
Well, here's the
Most
thing.
time, I always lose the damn remote.
That's just it. It's like even when I know where the remote is, it's often not where I am.
Yep.
And for me, I mean, I would actually rather not have the remote at all and just have the switch on the wall because at least the switch doesn't move. But if I could just be in the room and not care where the remote is and just use voice commands, that's actually a pretty good solution,
You
right?
can buy this for $79, Matthew.
I will never pay that
I
much money
found the
for a
website for it.
smart ceiling fan switch. But
No, you can
I
actually use it for any kind of switch.
that's true.
So it says you can transform any wall switch into a connected wall switch.
Huh, how about that?
So if you want to, let's say you forget your lights are on, and you can change that. I mean, yeah, it's pretty slick.
Yeah, yeah. I thought this was actually a decent idea. I could
Yeah,
see
it's got
somebody
an
doing
app with it, Matthew. It looks like you can actually then have all your lights categorized by room inside of here, and then you can actually just turn them on and off with your phone.
that. Oh no, I don't want that.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
Everything.
terrible.
Yep. Access everywhere. and voice recognition. This is great.
That's terrible. Well, let's
And you can set
harken back
schedule.
to the guy you were talking about last week who called you saying, my house has been hacked and I'm losing control of all my devices.
That's exactly what would happen, guys. I mean, it would be, yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
this is a big problem.
Yeah. Along the same lines, we have the Remo Bell. So
Remo.
this is a smart doorbell that allows users to answer their doors even if they're not home. So it comes with a complimentary app like all of these products. Everybody
Of
has an app.
course.
There's an app for that. It has a built-in motion sensor that detects movement and streams HD live video to users' phones so you can see who's coming up to your door, and then two-way audio via the app to answer the door. So you can actually, somebody can, I guess they ring the doorbell or whatever they do, and you can, kind of click the button on the app and talk to the person who's at the door and say, hey, yep, great, okay, I'm not home. I don't know if I want to tell them that, or I'm upstairs but can't come down to the door right now. I don't know. Yeah,
I would buy this. I mean,
yeah.
here's the funny thing is we were just talking about this, but my son is at home right now, and he just texted me, "Hey, Dad, are we expecting anybody?" I said no, and he said the dog scared him off because we live out in the country a little bit here, but I could see myself using this.
Yeah, I can too. I mean, I like the sensor and the video, and I think it's probably useful to have the audio, but I'm just trying to think, like, if I weren't home and somebody were at my door, I don't want to tell them I'm not home, right? So it's a little weird um, in that regard, but everything else about it I kind of like.
Yeah, this
But
is like you can buy
Cliff, you
this
can get the
for.
Remo Bell. It's
I
on
am
Amazon.
thinking about it. I just put the link here, and it's on sale. It's usually $180. It's $84 now. There's only
Oh,
two
really?
left.
Oh, that might actually be that's a pretty good deal.
It is actually a pretty good deal. So I just put the link to the Amazon in our thing, but there's a lot of the. It looks like there's a lot of folks that do something very similar to this.
It's interesting because we don't have a doorbell now. When we
Really,
had our door replaced, we did not replace the doorbell.
I
And we
hate my doorbell because the dogs
I
go
do too.
crazy every
Yeah,
single.
us too. Yeah, we do too. It's a little bit inconvenient, but I've actually been thinking about this very thing because when I am down in my office during the day, I can't actually tell when somebody comes up to the door now because the doorbell doesn't ring, right? There's no doorbell. And so if somebody were trying to get my attention, it's very difficult to do so. So I was thinking what I really need is a camera out there so I can actually, monitor when somebody is at the door. And this is kind of exactly what I need, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
all.
I could see
Maybe
that.
I'll buy one.
I think you should. Let me know. I'd
I
like to
have an
see if
Amazon gift
that's.
card.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I'd be tough. Why would you not at this point?
I might actually buy this one. So what do we have up next?
What do we got here? Oh,
This
so I thought this was hilarious, Matthew. So this is a microbot wireless robotic pusher, and you can buy this on Amazon. I got a link to it here. But
I'm
if you
already
have you
excited
ever
about this one.
got tired of pushing buttons, Matthew? Like at your house, like you
Um,
just consistently have to push a button sometimes.
uh, to be honest with you, it does come up much, unless you mean, sort of with my family pushing their buttons.
No, I don't think that's that. But this is more of like reminds me of like you have to push the easy button from the commercials quite
Yeah, right.
often. Now you can actually buy one. You can actually buy something that will electronically push the button for you, and of course, there's an app for that.
And so give me an example of one of these buttons that would need pushing.
Actually, I actually have struggle. I was trying to think like in my house what type of button I would need pushed, because you got rid of the doorbell, so I can't push that now.
Can't push the doorbell.
No, I'm not going to push any buttons on my stove or my microwave. Probably not anything for like ice making on my fridge. I'm really struggling with what I'd actually push button wise at the house.
Hmm.
But you could do it 100%. You can do it. It's $47. I've got a link here for Amazon. It'll be in the show notes. Yeah, if you want to do it, will sit there and just push buttons all day long.
So I did one time see one of these maker articles, right? Somebody had created a device that would defeat Amazon's what do you call it? Their DRM on ebooks. And it used a very creative method. It did not try to, let's say, actually defeat the DRM. What it did was it was a little robotic finger. You would position your Kindle, and there was a camera, and it would take a snapshot of the page that was on the Kindle, run it through OCR, and spit out text on the other end. And then it was a robotic finger that would push the button on the Kindle to turn the page. And then would take another snapshot, and it would just go through the whole book like that.
Oh, golly. Wow. Yeah, I don't think so. This is not that sophisticated at all.
Well, I can't think of anything then.
No, I can't think of anything at all for this. So
Okay, well, if you do need a button pushed, now you know there's a device for that.
yeah, and again, it's on Amazon. And the thing is I was talking with Matthew, and I think the Amazon's the go-to place for something like this, because where else, I mean, would you go? And I mean, price-wise, $47, maybe like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna buy this for somebody for a gift. It's kind
Yeah,
of fun.
definitely. Yeah, that's not too bad. All right, next up we have the Chip Smart Cooking Oven. What is that?
I actually want this. I love cookies. I love food in general. I love sweets.
Mhm.
So this one here, I've got a link to it for the Kickstarter. They've got $109,000. They needed 100 grand.
Mhm.
And so what this does is it actually will. It's a cookie making oven. So it cooks about 4 cookies at a time, and you actually use a kind of like a Keurig type thing. It actually has a Keurig that you pop in there, except it has cookie dough in it, and there's like a multitude of different cookie flavors. So if it's like, I want a macadamia nut, a chocolate chip, and a peanut butter, you could cook all 3 of them. And it's got settings, so you can get like the perfect gooiness, or you could have
Wow.
more of the flat, or if you like crispy, you could get crispy every single time.
How about that?
Yeah, it's pretty slick. So I mean, and
I
it's on.
noticed that it requires proprietary cookie pods.
Actually, you can use your own. I read through this. It actually allows you to also use your own recipes. So if you've got your own, you can do that too.
Interesting.
Yep. So it's
Well,
like,
there's something about this that I don't like, but the concept I really do, of the idea that this is sort of a specialized, like in, I don't know, any kind of cooking, but baking in particular, I feel like there's such a formula, right? And and getting it just right is pretty difficult and pretty
it
manual,
is.
honestly. But
It
if you could get
is.
it down to a science,
Yep.
kind of like that.
I like this one actually. I could have a cookie with my coffee every single morning.
Well, that sounds healthy.
Why not? I eat carrots for lunch. I can have a cookie for breakfast.
Well, there you go.
I like the plan. And so then the nice thing is I could use this next device for dinner to help me, well, the next 2 for dinner to help me kind of make sure I don't go crazy.
And what is the next device?
So the next device, again, you can buy this on Amazon. It's $49. It's a Happy Fork.
Happy Fork, like happy as in, you know,
I don't
excited to
think
be alive?
maybe, but the Happy Fork is a Bluetooth enabled smart fork that it vibrates when you're eating too fast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so if you're eating too fast, it starts to vibrate. It's like, slow down.
And eating too fast is an indicator of what?
I don't know what it's an indicator, but it's like, I think it's just meant to slow it down so you can essentially digest your food, so that way it allows you then to recognize when you're actually full, right? So you don't
Right. Yeah.
just dive right in.
Yeah. And as opposed to after the fact, which is what I usually do, I eat too much, too fast, and
And
then
you're like,
feel way
ooh,
too full.
I ate way too much. Yeah, same here.
Oh, I feel terrible. Why did I
Yeah.
do that?
Well, I mean, the nice thing is, even if you did that, Matthew, if you use the next item that Samsung has created, you'd be just fine.
And this is called the Welt?
The Welt, Welt. So, I
No.
mean, this is from Samsung. It's a Kickstarter. It's actually been shipping. It's a belt that, yeah, I know, it's just so funny. It's a belt that analyzes things like waistlines and eating habits and physical movement. So it's like, hey, you're eating too much, not walking enough. You may need to fix something here.
Okay. So let's back up a couple of steps.
And the belt
So
looks good too. It's like a nice leather looking belt.
the concept that here I think is useful, right? Like it's in line with other wearables, fitness trackers and that kind of thing. And I think maybe more directly um, addresses sort of the weight loss maybe spectrum. But they really needed to find an English speaker when naming it,
I would
because you
agree.
don't you I mean, don't they realize that welt that's actually already a word in English? And do you really want your belt being associated with welts?
Probably
Probably
not.
not.
No.
So rename it, it'll be great.
Yeah, this thing, it looks like it comes out of Korea, is where it's coming from.
Yeah,
So you
Samsung.
probably didn't realize, yes, probably didn't realize that, hey, Welt is probably not what you. So I found the actual Welt Corp website here, where it looks like you can buy this thing here, Matthew.
Far
Here's the
out.
store. Oh, they got a nice leather one. Oh no, you actually, they've got a ton of folks here that you can purchase it from. Nothing on,
Interesting.
oh, that's Korean. That's not going to help me whatsoever.
No.
Nope. So,
It's like
uh,
when Chevy started selling the Nova
yep.
in
So this is Korean. So
Mexico.
it's
Yeah.
119 Korean bucks.
Yeah.
I don't think you can actually
I don't know
buy
what that
this.
is.
I don't either. So I don't think you can actually buy this from the U.S. From what I can tell.
Well, maybe they'll rename it before it comes
Oh,
here.
you don't like the welt?
I don't at all. It's the most terrible
That's
name for a
that
belt.
sounds like a great fitness belt.
The welt.
The welt. Like I'm gonna get yeah, it's just
It's
awful.
like medieval torture.
Yeah. So if you
Yeah.
if you're interested, more than welcome. I got you can pick it up.
If you eat too much, it shocks you. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah. I think that's a great
gives
idea.
you a welt?
The fork starts to vibrate, and then the belt will shock you, and you drop the fork and you break your device,
Well, that's yeah.
and you stop eating.
That's one way. These do stop eating.
Yes.
So, Cliff, tell me about the umbrella.
Umbrella. The umbrella is a smart connected umbrella that alerts you before it rains and if you leave it behind. It costs about 80 bucks. You can go support the Indiegogo right now. They've actually reached 102% of their goal. It's coming out of France, but it's pretty slick. It looks like.
Hmm. So, okay, so hold on. So it basically it's connected, so it alerts you like on your phone, let's say, that
Yeah,
it's
it'll
gonna
give you a
rain.
weather alert saying, "Hey, it's gonna
Yeah.
rain." So that way you know. And then if you end up going to a friend's house and you leave it behind, right? It's easy enough. It'll tell you that you left your $80 umbrella.
Oh, I see. I was thinking about it the other way around. So the idea would be because people take the umbrellas out because it's raining, but then forget them because it's no longer raining, and it will
Exactly.
remind you that, oh, you forgot your umbrella. So before you get all the way home, you can turn around. Well,
Yep.
that's kind of handy.
Yeah. So and it'll tell you all that. It also looks like it'll track the entire place that you walk. So it's got some nice tracking if you want that.
I don't want tracking. Thank you very much.
And it's a nice kind of, I don't know what you call this, rainbow clear look.
Is that like a design term?
It kind of reminds
Now
me of like unicorns that
we
are
designed this to be
translucent.
rainbow clear.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's rainbow clear. I think that's a thing. I'm gonna make it a thing. So it's rainbow clear.
It's
Um,
it's a color.
yeah, yeah. It's you can't get it in blue, but you can get it in rainbow clear. Oh gosh, I love these. And it's yeah, you can buy this, 80 bucks.
Fantastic. It won't be on my list, but I do think it's a clever idea. I'll tell
But
you
it
one
doesn't
thing though.
rain that much here that we have to really worry about something like
Well,
this.
here's the thing: is if you like
I don't
you're
live in a city.
that's it. Yeah. When we lived in Boston, umbrellas were really important, and we did often, forget them. Um, and if you're out and you're reliant on like the train or the buses to get you places, you're often going to be caught in various weather. And
Oh
so
yeah.
something, having a good umbrella is important when you live in
Mhm.
the city. And the other thing is, if you bought the cheap umbrella, one good wind and it would, those spines would just snap. And basically,
Huh.
then your umbrella is useless. And so you really needed to invest in like a quality umbrella. So I don't know that it's such a leap to say, well, now you've got a smart umbrella, as long as the rest of the umbrella is solid. Like it's got to be heavy duty to hold up to, a strong wind. But
Sure. Yeah,
maybe some
I have
hail
no
now and
idea. I think you need to try that out, a little bit of hail every once in a while, or a nor'easter. Yeah.
I walked through so many different kinds of weather. It was pretty crazy. And with an umbrella, it's like I would arrive at work and everything from like the belly button down would be soaked, right? Because the top part of my body was covered by the umbrella, but my lower half wasn't. So
You need like a smart umbrella with the smart galoshes.
yeah, exactly. All right. Last but not least, we have something
Another
called the
food item,
Dune
Matthew.
Oven. Yeah, you're really on
Yeah.
a food kick this week.
Yeah, cookies, coffee, I mean, all that good stuff, right?
Yeah, b- welt belts.
The welt belt and a vibrating fork.
Oh
Yes.
yeah,
Like
you've got a whole
vibrating so
culinary
fast I
team.
can't actually eat.
It just vibrates right out of your hand.
The food flops off. Like, dang it. No, this is the June oven. It's about $1,500. There's a free 100-day cooking trial. So
What?
yeah. So 15 former Apple employees decided to make like an AI based oven. So there's a smart camera. There's a camera inside of it with a chip that will analyze the food and actually tell you what it should do to cook it.
Interesting.
So you pop a chicken in there and you tell it you want it crispy. It'll say, all right, for crispy, this is what you want, and it will just cook it for you.
Wow.
Like you don't have to think about it. Slide in the tray of brownies, bingo. So here goes one more variable. The reviews I was reading says when it works really well. When it doesn't, it's problematic.
Yeah, I believe it. It seems like something that would be kind of fussy, I would think.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's a cool idea, and I feel like that might be the future, actually, right? Is
well,
maybe
and it's neat
smarter.
because it's got a couple of them. It's got one where it actually replaces your oven that you'd use for your house, Matthew.
Hmm.
But then it's also got like a countertop one. So think like how
Yeah,
many
like
times
a little
like a toaster oven, right?
toaster oven. Yeah.
Yep. You throw in a piece of pizza. All right, I just need this warmed up. But actually, I mean, you can do an entire pizza, right? So all types of different things that could get rolled in
That's
there.
just crazy talk.
And of course, there's an app
Of course there is.
because you can actually watch your food being cooked and get notified when it's done.
And I noticed that it's using the NVIDIA
Mm-hmm.
Tegra
Yep.
chipset, which is their mobile line. So that's kind of interesting. I suppose there's probably a fair amount of compute going on, though,
I would think so.
because it's got a lot of variables. It's clearly it's got to be paying attention to lots of things to be able to process all that data.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah,
very
I mean,
interesting.
I think it is because it's got some reviews where folks say we actually started using. They have a counter. Most of them, it looks like you're getting the countertop version.
Yeah.
And most of them are saying, "Yep, we actually have found that we use this more than our regular oven anymore." Just because
Well, the
it's
other
so
thing that's
convenient.
interesting is it's $1,500, which isn't that much different than a regular oven, right?
No, and a lot of them like it because the app they can actually. It's a very clear picture. I mean, how often have you tried to turn the oven light on to see what's going on?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see.
Very difficult. So imagine if you actually had a decent camera to see what your food actually looked like.
That's kind of cool.
Hey, is this done? Can you go check it? No, I got my phone. I'm good.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of cool. I like that.
So pretty slick. I would struggle paying $1,500, but if it was $49, I would definitely buy it. I don't think it will ever be $49, Matthew.
No, it won't. But I mean, again, like I think we just replaced our oven this year, and I think we spent, I don't know, maybe we spent $1,000 on our new oven. But certainly there were many ovens that were way more expensive than that, right?
And they probably
And I
didn't
don't
have
know.
AI built into them.
I don't think they did. I'm sure they had some really killer features that I'm not really up on. But I guess my point is that's not, particularly unusual for what it's doing. You'd think it'd be a lot more. So,
Sure.
Yeah,
And they got
very
tons of recipes here too.
That's a cool concept. That would be
Oh,
interesting. I bet in 20
the
years,
bacon
all
looks like it's pretty tasty though.
oh, I bet. I love some bacon.
Yes. Oh, you're saying in 20 years?
Yeah, well, in 20 years, I bet this will just be how ovens work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I
I
mean,
don't
this
know
makes
why
sense
they
to me.
wouldn't have smart technology in them. Why, like in the dark ages when you couldn't, when you didn't have a robot controlling your temperatures to perfect degree for what you're cooking.
Yeah, you had actual open fire that you had to do.
Exactly.
Like, we may need some more logs here. Hopefully you don't get the wrong kind of logs.
You don't mean log files, do you?
No,
That's
I
the
don't mean
first
log
thing I
files.
think of when you say logs.
I'm
I mean,
thinking like, I don't know, oak, aspen,
no, I
pine.
gotcha. I gotcha. I'm
Yes.
following.
Good.
All right, folks, if you have any feedback for us, you can shoot us a message at podcast@gearforgesoftware.com, or you can find us on Twitter at GearForgeIoT, and we would love to hear from you. And that just about wraps things up for this week's episode. Cliff, do you have anything fun planned for the weekend?
I'm probably going to take the boat out, maybe do a little fishing, and then I think I'd mentioned we're taking holiday for next week, so we've got to get the pull behind RV stocked up and ready to go, and that'll take some of the weekend just getting that ready. How about you?
Well, I'm not 100% sure what the weekend holds, but maybe playing around with some stuff with technology that isn't the project that I've been working on. So looking into some of the other really cool stuff that I haven't had time to play with. So
That sounds like a great time, Matthew.
I know, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting because in our line of work, learning is really a necessity. You have to stay up to date, and so it's lucky that I find that stuff to be fun.
Yeah, if you were one that like, I really hate learning, probably not the great line of work.
It's really not the industry to be in.
No.
Well, folks, thank you so much for listening, and we hope you'll join us again for next week's show. Until then, so long and be well. Cliff,
Take care.
see you later.
Yep. Bye.